Bombay Stock Exchange. Now, BSE has been one big mover on the back of strong numbers, 8.5% rally on the stock. Vamakshi now joins in for BSE and how the numbers compare with what we know from NSE.
Well, absolutely. Both of these exchanges reported their numbers yesterday. BSE's revenue on a much smaller base grew by almost 24% sequentially. NSE, however, witnessed a degrowth of 2.5%. But on an operational front, both the companies have performed really well. NSE, of course, has a higher EBITDA margin as compared to BSE, given its operating leverage. But the improvement in margin for BSE was much higher. In fact, improvement in margin for NSE was largely driven by lower regulatory fees, which was down nearly 11%, and other expenses, while the sharp jump in BSE could be owed to 170 crore provision that was created for regulatory fees owed to SEBI. Resultantly, BSE margin stood at 46.73%, NSE margin stood at 68.9%. As a result, when we look at the net profit, the jump in for BSE is much higher as compared to NSE. BSE net profit saw a sequential jump of almost 1.5 times, while NSE net profit was up nearly 3.2%. As far as market share is concerned, NSE of course continues to dominate, but it has lost out on market share in the equity options segment. BSE, on the other hand, continues to gain market share in the derivative segment, but the momentum for stock futures and options that were launched in July 2024 is still at a very nascent stage. So we will have to watch out for how this exactly pans out for BSE. That said, there is definitely a potential risk, and that is mainly on account of uncertainty on the eventual F&O regulations that will be announced by the government, by SEBI rather. Let's also look at the valuation picture. Sources suggest that NSE shares in the unlisted market trade at around 5,200. Given the price at which BSE currently trades, the P multiple for BSE stands at nearly 34 times, while that for NSE stands at nearly 25 times. If NSE, say, were to trade at the current multiples of BSE, the price would be pegged at almost 7,000 rupees per share, and if it is a little higher, given that NSE of course is a dominant player in terms of volumes as well as market share, the price could at a multiple of 45 times could actually be at around 9,300. That said, this time around it is BSE that is definitely shining brighter than NSE as far as the Q1 numbers are concerned.
Okay.